This is American Cemetery Live. How's my hair?
Good.
Good.
Did you put
All
some curl in it today?
Enough. All right. Hey, this is Tom Nondorf from American Cemetery and Cremation Magazine.
And Ashlinn Goodman, Director of Cemetery Solutions by Security National.
We're here again with American Cemetery Live. How are you, Ashlinn?
I'm great, Tom. Good to see you. How are you?
Good. We're asking a question this week, which is what's got Ashlinn hot and bothered this week? What's under your skin this week?
Oh, Tom, what isn't under my skin this week? I couldn't wait to talk with you so that we get some things simplified.
Simplification is the theme. Too much complexity. I think we talked a little ahead of time, and I know that too much complexity in pricing and just the way things are structured for families is kind of annoying you a little bit. Talk about kind of what ways we could do better in the cemetery field.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even know that that was irritating me, although I thought on and on about it for a couple of years. And a lady asked me the other day, well, Ashlyn, how much can somebody expect to pay for a funeral or for cemetery? And if you work in this profession, you don't have an answer for that. It's like saying, well, how much are you going to pay for, I hate this, but a car? And so in the cemetery, especially, we have to be simple about this. It doesn't make sense to people that they have to buy a space and opening and closing and an outer burial container and endowment care and memorialization. We don't live in that kind of world. Or packages. Well, you could buy this package for it. Well, they don't sell packages at the grocery store. You know what I mean? You don't go to the grocery store and have to buy bread and cheese and meat. You can buy all of those things individually. So I guess what I'm saying is if it takes you 45 minutes to explain your pricing is probably too complex.
Devil's advocate, I go to, let's say my friendly neighborhood fried chicken restaurant, and I just like to eat a couple thighs. I'm not interested in the mashed potatoes, the slaw. Give me a couple, three thighs, and you can't find that on the menu, right? And so it's not just the cemetery industry that in which this is an issue. Simplification, it can be quite annoying just on that level. And here, of course, you tie in all the emotions that come with, looking for a burial place for a loved one.
Absolutely. And I think the simple answer is just like you're going to the chicken place and they're kind of advising you through your chicken order. We have to advise people and we have to think and say, okay, well, Tom, you only want this. So then let me make a suggestion on how you get that exactly and what it costs you. Not that you don't fit into my package or that you want the two thighs, but actually you're going to need this and this and this and this on top of it. Think about really, before you talk to people or share pricing with them, what is going to irritate them the least to hear? And then go with that. How can you deliver this information simply and effectively to where they actually want to do business with you? Because most people, I can tell you, are getting pricing over the phone and hanging up because it's completely diluted.
What about people who come in and is this anathema to the people you talk to who work in sales at cemeteries and people come in having done their research, which people should do their research. And you would encourage them, if you were talking to a friend, to do their research before coming in. But how do we face that from a sales side?
This is absolutely something that we talk about in our sales training. One of the biggest things going around right now is that client families must be educated. We must educate our client families. I think we must advise our client families. I think the modern consumer, tell me what you think about this. I think that the modern consumer wants to educate themselves, whether it be on your website, on Google, through ChatGPT, through testimonials from friends. They want to educate themselves, and then they want to come to the professional when they're ready for more information or ready to move forward and basically have you just verify that they've done a good job and that they have the right information, and then make a suggestion on what makes the most sense for them and what it's going to cost them. So I think it's a great thing that people are educating themselves.
As with all good things, balance though, right? I've got friends who, rather than go to a doctor, they try to figure it all out on the web. Then they go to the doctor, they've got all this information they have, and the doctor's like, no, it's not that at all. No, no, you're way off base. Now, this is somebody with many years of medical training and experience. I think in cemetery sales, it's not that. We have to be more accepting of people who've taught themselves, but people can still teach themselves the wrong things, especially when there's a lot of negative info in the air towards sales in general and towards death care and cemetery sales. There's always that lingering, you mentioned used car element to sales, and keeping away from that. I think we really have to bend over backwards to show respect to people who have taught themselves.
Sure. I mean, I think that those who succeed in this are going to be ones that are putting their own information out there, who are putting their own media out there, so to speak. So if you're making educational videos and you're a crematory or a cemetery, you're in good shape, because then at least they're getting the information from you. Whereas when people have to get information from an alternate source, some of them are going to get it, like you said, some of them are going to get lost in translation. When they get lost in translation, you just have to rely on the fact that they trust you enough as the advisor or the cemetery professional to guide them in the right decision. And some will, and some won't.
It's a great point about you being the source. And that's where, when we talk about people having more up to date websites and with content actually on there, it's not just to have content. It's not just to say, oh, we're here, look at this cool video of our grounds or whatever. But if you can be a place, especially in a local sense, so that people aren't looking at some national website to get their views on cemetery purchases, they're actually say, oh, well, the one in my town actually is very open, and this is what they're saying, and this is what they're teaching, and then they're very comfortable to go over there because you have that content out there already.
That's exactly what people want. And we know what the common questions are. And if you don't know what the common questions are, you can very easily search and see what top five people, or what top five things do people have concerns about, or what do people have questions about in 2026 regarding cemetery. And you just pump out content, even if it's DIY content in your cemetery about those things, and then you'll become the source. And then that will be a good lead source for you as well.
We talked about things that Ashlinn is angry about, which I haven't actually seen you angry in life. But what currently regarding all this actually has you sort of uh, on the edge?
Well, I guess if I had to narrow it down to one overarching theme, when we think about the future of our profession and why people are now choosing to circumvent the cemetery and place cremated remains at home, not perform placement in a cemetery, it's hard not to consider that we didn't cause some of this by things like not having understandable pricing, not having up to date website, not having content available about what we do. It would make sense that people would kind of go their own direction with it. So some of it's just frustration on what we have caused, and some of it is just getting this all sorted out and simplified so that people want to do business with us again.
Nature abhors a vacuum, and people in a vacuum of information, they end up going all over the place and getting all kinds of information that conflicts, and confusion builds. Here's a question for you. Peter J. Ryan is a cemetery manager in New Jersey, and he writes for us in American Cemetery and Cremation. He has a nice piece coming up for us, but he had some key questions that he thought cemetery managers should be asking themselves.
Okay.
And one was, which services are producing sustainable contribution? I was curious what your thought was on that.
Okay. I'm going to hold everybody's hand while I say this. Full body burial is still providing a sizable contribution for your cemetery. Why? Well, because when you perform a full body burial, they have to pay whatever. The grave costs, they have to pay whatever. The opening and closing is, they're going to pay to memorialize. So, yes, still take care of those client families who are performing burial. And then the rest of your time should be into capturing your cremation market. go to your local crematory, your discount cremation center today, if you're a cemetery, and ask how you can partner with them so that that can start providing more of a sizable contribution to your revenue. So that's a tough pill to swallow for some folks, Tom, is that full body burial is still important for a lot of cemeteries.
Barbara
Speaking of
Kemmis, Barbara
cremation,
Kemmis, Barbara Kemmis,
hey folks, very
Barbara
special
Kemmis.
person with me now, Barbara Kemmis of the Cremation Association of North America, also known to the common man as CANA. How are you, Barbara?
Thanks, Tom. I'm doing great. How are you?
Great. I wanted to give you a chance to talk about what you have coming up in Minnesota. I was at the convention that you had last year in Phoenix, and people who were there still talk about it. And so tell us what you have coming up, because this is not just any year for cremation folk. This is the sesquicentennial.
That's right. I'm trying to make sesquicentennial a thing. It's what that means in English is our 150th anniversary of cremation. So we're celebrating with our 108th Cremation Innovation Convention in beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota, August 12th through the 14th. We'll be looking back at cremation's history, but most importantly, looking forward to what we can learn and apply to our businesses to make cremation a success.
Minnesota has a pretty interesting place in cremation. You want to talk about that?
Sure. Minnesota is the state with the highest cremation rate in the Midwest. It also happens to be a beautiful, drivable, fly-inable location for a convention with a great airport. And we're right in downtown Minneapolis. For those of you who attended CANA in the past, it's the same hotel we were at 13 years ago. We loved it so much, we've decided to come back. But with that high cremation rate and a state that's embraced two new forms of cremation, alkaline hydrolysis, and now natural organic reduction, we hope to have a lot to share about local innovations and local practices that everybody who attends can take at least one thing home with them to apply to their business.
And folks, if you haven't attended or if you have attended before but not recently, this is a great chance to get back on board. I think it's going to be a blast. I can't wait. So I look forward to seeing you there, Barbara.
Thanks, Tom.
I might be in Hollywood now, but I'll see you at the cemetery later.